views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.
Good day and welcome to Ability Radio. My name is Kishma B. Francis and I am one of your hosts. Ability Radio is brought to you by the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands. And today I have a special guest. My special guest is Dawn O'Brien. And Dawn, if you could just introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Good morning. Again, Dawn O'Brien, and I'm an advocate with the Disability Rights Center for the VI. I've been working with the agency for about 2 years now and really enjoying the process, the opportunity, the ability to connect with our community. And as an advocate, I realize that there's just so many facets to the role in terms of the people I connect with, how I can provide services to them. Sometimes individuals just wanting to be present and have someone listen to what their struggles are. And in any way that I can bring support or bring services or bring some knowledge to the role, that's really what my intentions are.
Yes, and Dawn does a really great job taming me because I bring out these wonderful ideas that are so wonderful in my mind and Dawn walks me through it. Unfortunately, I don't get her all of the time. She works on a grant by herself. So Dawn, if you could just talk about what you do on that grant.
Well, the grant is to support public health and public health workers. I've really had the privilege and honor of collaborating with Ms. Jacqueline Greniff Payne, who is the EMS director with the Department of Health. And so our agency has been, given the opportunity to have a MOU with her. She's in charge of the mobile integrated healthcare community paramedicine. And yes, I know it's a mouthful. So many times we'll refer to it as the MIH project. What happens with that is there's a team of paramedics, a licensed or registered nurse that will go out to provide home care to indigent people in the community. And there's no particular age or requirements other than people who might be needing wound care, person who might be dealing with diabetes, a variety of different health concerns. So the team would go to the person's home, they check their vitals. Sometimes just that social interaction makes such a difference because the older clients, sometimes they tend to be living alone. So getting that one-on-one makes such impact. The team also, besides checking vitals, they provide medication management, making sure that they're taking their meds, making sure that they're taking the right medication. So at times they're involved with their physician to make sure that if there are any changes in the prescriptions, the team would be aware of that. They also pick up sometimes groceries for individuals who have limited mobility. They provide a host of services. In my role, I travel with the MIH team to ensure that their clients are not being exploited or discriminated, and they understand that they have rights. Having worked in a variety of nonprofit organizations in our community, I try to keep a kind of a mental record of all of the social services that we have in the VI, so that if a client is in need of certain types of wraparound services, I can pass that on to the nurse who can then take that information and help the client apply for maybe public transportation, para services, their SNAP, their MAP. So it's a great collaboration. And, I found that we can both be allies for their clients.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And Dawn, when she goes out on these, how do you call it? Assignments? Do you call it,
Well, I just look at it as just another day of doing public outreach. So I just kind of quantify everything as public outreach. Once I'm in the community and I'm interacting with people, I'm giving them information, services, I'm doing outreach.
Yes, yes. And she does a great job because everywhere I go, Dawn is hugging someone. She's hugging someone, and I've met some really great people because of Dawn, because not only because of her outreach in the community, but especially with this program. What do you see a difference in regards to when you, prior to this program, prior to being on this grant, in comparison to what you viewed society as, or the help that we needed? Do you see a difference?
Well, definitely being a part of this grant, this project, I've gotten a more intimate view of some of the pitfalls in terms of the services, some of the fractured areas. A lot of times, it's one thing to be an advocate and you go out there and you talk about services. And then when, you realize sometimes the services really aren't there in the way they should, it becomes kind of frustrating. You give someone a number to call, and when at times I may call the number just to make sure it's, working and there's some type of communication on the other end, just to find out that, you're being sent to a voicemail. There's no communication. There's no follow-up. So yes, that gets to be frustrating. So I usually try on my end to make sure that there's some kind of responsiveness in terms of the information that I'm passing on or providing. I'll try to get a contact person. I'll make sure I get their title, their contact name, an email. So there's more than one way to kind of skin a cat. But it's, for me, working with the MIH, it's really a kind of a warm and fuzzy opportunity, because I can see the big difference in a lot of clients when they're receiving that one-on-one care that sometimes they may not get. Maybe they don't have family members here on island, or they just don't have the capacity to have anyone stop by, So the MIH team, I think that's really a great program, and they're hoping to expand it to St. Thomas and St. John, because it's a necessity. I think even if the hospitals were up and running, it would still require, a space for people who don't have to recover in a hospital setting. They can recover in the comfort of their homes. Hopefully, when the program does expand, we can have maybe moms who are just coming home with their babies, who may just need a little, one-on-one support to help them through that first week or two. So there's just really an amazing opportunity to really be supportive in the community. And from where I stand and from what I see, this can be such a rewarding opportunity. It's kind of like a gift that keeps giving. You're supporting people, and then you get a chance to see how the product is affecting them, how it's making an impact in their lives. A lot of our elderly people, they just want to be a voice. They want to have someone listen to them. So sometimes it's not even necessarily having a wound check. It's just having that social connection. And, given the fact that we came out of COVID, I think people are still kind of sheltered and really feel as though they don't have someone on the other end, because everyone's been in their own silos. This program is working through all of that to give people an opportunity to kind of come out, giving people who are at home, still kind of sheltering, an opportunity to interact, get some of the services, and to know that they matter.
Yes, definitely. Because when I think about what the work you guys are doing, just think about COVID really put a damper on the way that Caribbean people, especially, here in the islands, Virgin Islands, how we do things. We're accustomed to popping up at somebody's house. And then COVID said, you can't do it. Sorry.
Exactly.
But now with the MIH program, they're coming in, popping up. Well, they're scheduled, popping up, and they're coming in, and it's bringing that same type of feeling we had prior to COVID to the individuals who need it the most.
Exactly.
Who feel isolated because because of what they're experiencing at that time. So I love Dawn. I just want because I am the project director for the Parent Training Information Center. And she does an awesome job with our texting program. And without Dawn, I would have been lost because she comes up with some text messages. And the whole point of our texting program is not only to give information, it's also to motivate. It's also to elevate. So, Dawn, if you could just talk about our texting program, that would be
sure. Well, the texting program, we have a flyer that we can share and pass around to anyone or parents or guardians who would like to subscribe. And it's a free subscription. You can stop and opt out whenever you want, but you would get 2 text messages per week. One day on Tuesdays, we have information that's affirmations and supportive information that would, remind parents that we understand the role is hard, but we want them to understand that all that they do is important for their children, for their grandchildren, and just a little reminder to let them know that what they do matters. Then on Thursday, there's another text message that would go out, and it might be information about upcoming events, upcoming resources that are available. Or I may send information about new medical breakthroughs or something that was shared by the CDC that parents should be aware of, when certain milestones that parents should want to address with their pediatrician. So it's meaningful information. And again, this is for parents, grandparents, even teachers, anyone who's dealing with students, dealing with children. I think the program, it also gives a way for a parent to just, look at their phone. They get this pop-up text, and it's a nice way to start your morning off, kind of feeling resilient and recouping from whatever it is that you might have been dealing with in the background. So we just want to inspire our parents so that they can inspire their children. So it's an ongoing process, and, we look forward to the parents who are interested. Again, we share it on our Facebook. You just can subscribe by sharing your phone number, and you would immediately get contacted with a wonderful affirmation or quote or resource message.
Yes. And also when we have upcoming events, we do share it via our text messaging club. I want to talk a little bit about advocacy because we've seen a lot of people, they're struggling. They're struggling mentally, they're struggling socially, they're struggling financially. But I just wanted to touch on the mental aspect. I was texting my niece the other day and I told her, hey, it's okay to not be okay. But when you're not okay, get some help.
I agree. And I think we can all kind of raise our hand at some point in time. There's this there's this stigma about mental health, but it's something that we all will impact our lives at some given point. For a person who has lost a loved one, who is dealing with grief, you can never really put a time limit on that. For some people, it could be 2 months, it could be 6 months, it could be years, but it's a mental health, and it's something that's impacting maybe the quality of their lives. For individuals who are dealing with maybe bipolar, again, it's like having let's say, a broken arm. All of these things can be remedied or addressed by, speaking up and getting help. We're not perfect beings, we're imperfect. And that also means from time to time we deal with, life-changing situations. And so from time to time, I've been able to coordinate several mental health virtual discussions. The last one was dealing with teens and their trauma. And we have to remember that a lot of teenagers, a lot of young people still haven't really come out of the COVID-19 pandemic because socially everyone has been impacted. So for those who have been dealing with other struggles behind closed doors, it's really still a hurdle. So we want to be able to bring a little mindfulness in terms of how we deal with one another, how we see one another. Sometimes you can see someone on the street that you've known for years, they're smiling, but really on the inside, they're dealing with a lot of trauma. So we need to be an open-minded community, a society that's a little more tolerant and compassionate, because it might be your turn tomorrow. We just really never know how life will navigate. But in terms of mental illness, it's something that we need to continue to talk about, to find resources for, to talk to our young people about, our children, our elderly, because it impacts everyone. There's no one who can escape it. I mean, you have our young people who are dealing with depression. There are young people who are dealing with suicidal ideations. So it's important to really talk these issues through. I think that's the main thing, to keep the conversation going and not to put a stigma on terms of how you might see a person in the street or what they may look like, because you just really don't know. All we can do is to just, maybe give a kind word, provide some support, but, you don't tear an individual down who's going through a difficult time, because we never know how that might eventually impact us and our lives.
Yes, definitely. And this takes me into the hygiene project. So Dawn and I sat down and I was having one of my moments. She knows my moments. And I come up with these wild ideas and I'm like, okay, we have to address hygiene poverty. It's real. There's so many things associated with it, like mental health challenges, educational challenges. We have to address it. So Dawn and I sat down and we started thinking about this hygiene project. And we wrote up the initiatives along with our interns, Adija Peterson and Nadisha De Jesus. They helped us and they gave us their feedback, their input. And we created this hygiene project. And this hygiene project, how it looked for us on St. Thomas first things first, we created a hygiene checklist. And this hygiene checklist was is a 4x6 card, and we printed out and we give it to the students with hygiene products. And what we did is we gave it to the students with disabilities first. And then we expanded it outside to general education, to the other students in public and private education, for the simple fact that we live in a community that they are underdiagnosed or undiagnosed. So, but the hygiene poverty situation affects all of us. So on St. Thomas, we gave out about 600 hygiene products. And what we're talking about is kits that were filled with deodorant, body wash. On St. Croix, we had the shampoo. On St. Thomas, we had toothpaste, both islands, toothbrush, feminine products for the aging, the girls coming of age. And we targeted between the ages of grades of 6 through 12. And at first we thought there would be apprehension, but those kids loved it. And while I'm talking about the hygiene project, I just want to say thank you to VIA. VIA donated 500 drawstring backpacks that the students can discreetly place their hygiene products in. Also, Omni Systems, they donated a couple hundred too, and that assists us to reach about 600 on St. Thomas. And I know Don's still working.
Yes, I'm still assembling some packages as we speak. I took some to Central High School last week, and I took about maybe 60 to Pearl B, Larson. And so unfortunately we're running into the end of the school term. So we're probably going to have to prioritize it for the reopening. But during the summer, we're still going to be distributing packets to maybe students in summer camps or summer programs. And it's really been exciting because, you see the kids when they get the packets and the bags, they are loving it.
Yes,
they are loving it. It's and that too is a gift that keeps giving, because a lot of the times students don't have the money or access to get products like deodorants and shampoos. They pretty much have to rely on whether or not they get those things from their parents or at home. But if they're not getting it from their parents or at home, where do they get it? And for a lot of teens, that's not really a priority. However, when they get these kits, in fact, there was this one high school student who, he looked at the package and he was like, man, this is great. Next thing I knew, when we were at a recent event, there were like 6 and 7 other males that were at our table trying to get these packets. So evidently, young people want to smell good. They want to feel good. They want to feel clean. So it should be a priority. And for those who aren't able to have access to it, I think this is just a little token. We could at least start to maybe change their behavior so that they understand it's important, not only just a social thing, but also, proper hygiene could ward off, bacteria and diseases, and, that could lead to sicknesses. So it's really critical. And for there are countries where, places don't have access to fresh running water or anything like this for their community. So it's really good that, Kishma was able to grab this grant and for it to really, morph into such an incredible project, because I get a chance to see the teachers and the counselors who are distributing this, and most important, the students. They like it, they look forward to it, and I'm quite sure when this is done again in the reopening of school, we'll see more of that excitement. And it tells our children that we care.
Yes.
We're thinking about them, and so we care. So it's just maybe a little drop in the bucket, but it's something that they seem to appreciate.
Yes, definitely, because we've given them out at expos, and we're going to continue to give them out in expos. We don't give out the drawstring backpacks because we ran out of them. So any businesses that would love to donate, please contact us. Those drawstring backpacks.
Definitely.
But we give them out in these little small packets, and the first thing we get is all of that in there.
Exactly.
All of that in there. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to freshen you up. So what we're looking forward to is back to school. We'll have another hygiene drive at the back to school events. I know at To the Park Mall, we will be doing it. And any other back to school event we have, we'll try to accommodate if we have the supplies. We're constantly ordering, constantly refreshing our stock. But Don, before we go, I just want you to share your wonderful words of wisdom as always. Always. So give us some wisdom.
Well, the only wisdom I can give you is wisdom that I've learned in terms of becoming a mom, a grandmother, is that, we're all in this together. No one person can do everything by themselves. No one agency can do everything by themselves. So we need allies. We need extra hands. We need extra eyes. We need young people. We need our elderly. So anyone who has any type of interest or want to volunteer, want to participate, want to make this community much more, just come on down, give us a call on St. Croix. Our office is located next to the old Kmart in Frederickstead, and the number of our office is 340-772-1200. Again, that's 340-772-1200. And we look forward to, meeting and connecting with all the individuals in our community.
And also on St. Thomas, our office is located in St. Thomas, right above Deli Deck is in Havenside. And if you call the 772-1200 number, you can get St. Thomas or St. Croix. We have wonderful ladies that answer the phone and point you in the right direction. So our website is www.drcbi.org. We have a Facebook page. Visit our Facebook page. We have YouTube where you can see archive shows. And this show has been brought to you by the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands. Thank you, Dawn.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WTJX, its board, staff, or underwriters.